How are y'all today? I ain't been live in a few days. Trying to get content together because y'all ain't been liking my content. But it is what it is. So today we going to go back into Black Americans' hidden identity. And I'm doing this on my phone. Hold on a moment. Because I got a funeral to go to today. Because the lie has been that we came on slave ships. Most of our lineage, we are indigenous to this land because they were black Indians until they married the Caucasian race and the skin lightened, and they're still black Indians to this day. But Black Americans often have hidden complex identities stemming from 400 years of intermingling with Native American, European, and African cultures. This includes the histories of Black Indians, which I just talked about, alliances against slavery, the Black Buffalo Soldiers in the West, and the often overlooked contributions of Black female pioneers. We have a lot of inventors. And during the time of slavery, Blacks couldn't, patent their stuff. So the slave master would take their inventions and act like they did it, and they ain't did shit. Hidden history is also revealed through genetic testing, which frequently shows diverse ancestral roots, challenging the singular monolithic. Hey, Damo. Monolithic assigned definition of Black identity. Black Native. Hey, Red, what's up? Black Native American heritage. Like I said, most of us are indigenous to this land. We did not come over no slave ships. Where the slave ships at? Normally, there's always a relic of something. You ain't never seen that. Now, I'm not saying some did come, but most of us are indigenous to America. We were already here, and that's the lie. A significant but often overlooked shared history exists when African and Native American cultures merged, particularly in the 17th century, Pueblo revolt, and through alliances in American South. Shall you feel bad? Why you feel bad? It don't matter. It is what it is. I don't feel bad. Modern DNA testing frequently reveals that many Black Americans poses a combination of West African, European, and Native American roots. Figures like George Washington Carver and Bayard Rustin, a key organizer on the March on Washington, often have their full complex roles in history hidden. Deliberate, systematic social efforts have long concealed the full scope of Black history in America, leaving gaps in the national narrative regarding Black, Indigenous, and mixed race contributions. Hey, Rowdy, the king is here. Okay. The construction of Black identity is heavily influenced by shared collective memory of trauma and resistance, which both shaped and is shaped by the past. And don't think that, and then the fallacy is that we didn't fight back. Yes, they did. Look up the Gullah Wars. Yes, they did. It wasn't just Nat Turner, it was more than that. For centuries, the conventional narrative of the discovery, because you can't discover something that's people are already there, and the colonization of the Americas has painted a picture of European conquest and subjugation of the indigenous people. Yet beneath this widely accepted history lies a contested and provocative counter narrative that both North and South America were originally the native lands of people who are black. Facts. This narrative challenged the received wisdom of 1492 and calls into question the true origins of wealth, power, and cultural identity in these continents. 1492 is when Columbus discovered the New World called the people Indians. Oh, excuse me, some French scholars, excuse me, Lord have mercy, assert that among these people were indigenous black communities referred to in certain texts as America's people of Nicaragua, who advanced civilizations predated European arrival. Facts. Facts. According to these accounts, Amigo Vespucci put reasons lost to time, adopted a name honoring these people, thus inverting the narrative. Rather than Americans being named for Vespucci, they were named in deference to a lost, vibrant black heritage. Now, the conquest of Spain is following the expulsion of the Moors, because we know the Moors conquered Spain. We taught them how, brought them soap, how to wash up, brought them out the caves. We did all of that. A process deeply intertwined with economic and cultural ferment of medieval Iberia, sought to recover the lost wealth and knowledge of these civilizations by establishing colonies in the Americas. Declassified FBI and DOJ documents reveal U.S. law enforcement agency in later years recognized the symbolic threat posed by what they termed the rise of the Black Messiah. Yep, and then coming back. Hold on, let me get my food for these kids. Eat it. The rise of the Black Messiah. You can't make this up. Rowdy, rowdy, rowdy. These agencies fear that the rediscovery or even the mythic remembrance of indigenous black civilization will galvanize a pan-African or pan-indigenous resurgence against entrenched economic interests. In this view, the vast wealth in gold and other resources extracted from the Americas was not solely a product of European ingenuity, but was a part justified by desperate efforts to supplant the legacy of the Moorish and black excellence. That is a fact. A legacy systematically suppressed by subsequent imperial powers. Archaeology of sites across North and South America, from the mounds of Mississippi Valley, often devise simplistic categorization. Some research argues that these structures, along with Egyptian-style tombs and mummies unearthed in unexpected locations, point to a transoceanic connection between ancient African civilizations and pre-Columbian Americans. But at one time, the landmass was all one. So you could walk. It was all one. Through mainstream archaeological attributes, these monuments to indigenous cultures developing in isolation, alternative theories suggest a more complex tapestry of migration and exchange. Documents declassified by the Smithsonian Institute hint at investigations into artifacts discovered within the Grand Canyon walls, sparking debates about the potential existence of advanced civilization that defies conventional timelines. These suppressed accounts, coupled with evidence of transoceanic trade routes established by Moorish navigators, invite us to reconsider the origins of American blacks and their contributions to the economic prosperity of the New World. That is a fact. Some researchers claim that early exploitations funded by the Smithsonian uncovered evidence that the sophisticated black civilization in America, findings that they were later suppressed and reinterpreted to fit the Eurocentric narrative. That's a fact. Although official records remain ambiguous, recent analysis of declassified Smithsonian documents lends some credence to the idea that key pieces of evidence were deliberately sidelined in favor of more palatable historical accounts. The Black Revolutionary legacy. The Black Panther Party, born out of desire to reclaim dignity and self-determination, became part of the black resistance. However, the government's preemptive and brutal efforts to neutralize its leadership, often under the guise of printing the emergence of Black Messiah. And like J. Edgar Hoover said after they annihilated the black resistance, that there will never be a black leader that has not been picked, that has not been selected. And it hasn't been since. So now then we had the assassinations of Fred Hampton, 1969, Huey P. Newton's repeated incarcerations and substance mental deterioration further testify to the lengths of the state would go to break your spirit. Black Americans possess a diverse heritage that includes indigenous and even Jewish lineages, because we the original Jews. The original Jews are Ethiopian, the Falashas. Facts. Those theories that the Red Indians of North America and certain groups of African descent share a common ancestry, one that has been obscured by centuries of colonial history. If indigenous people of Americas were indeed descendants or relatives of ancient black civilizations, and if figures like Amigo Vespucci pay homage to these people by aligning his identity with them, then the very foundation of American identity must be re-examined. This alternative history challenges dominant narratives and asserts that the Americans were not blank state waiting to be discovered by Europeans, but a vibrant tapestry of interwoven cultures with indigenous black people at its core. Hi, Alex. Well, thank God to Putin for releasing all those photos of black kings and queens a couple of years ago, or releasing the true identity of our black folk. Declassified records from the DOJ and FBI reveal a coordinated strategy to monitor and discredit voices that challenge the official history of the Americas. These documents, which which details surveillance of Black intellectuals and activists, provide a window into a state apparatus intent on maintaining a monolithic narrative of American history. While mainstream academic largely dismiss these findings, they continue to fuel the argument that there is a hidden history, one that positions the indigenous Black peoples of Americans as the true custodians of a rich, multifaceted heritage. The hidden truth of the Americans as the native land of indigenous Black people challenges us to reimage our collective history. As we confront these narratives, we must question that the official history and seek out voices and documents that have been hidden or suppressed for decades. Only by doing so can we begin to understand the true identity of Black Americans, a lineage that is diverse as it is ancient, as revolutionary as it is resilient. It is a history that demands recognition, recognition, not just a footnote to colonial conquest. In reclaiming this legacy, we honor the lost civilization, the exiled Moors, the American peoples of Nicaragua, and all those stories have been buried beneath layers of suppression. It is time to leave no stone unturned, no document unexamined, and no truth unspoken. The struggle for historical justice is ongoing, and in search of forbidden knowledge lies in the hope for the future that fully acknowledges the multifaceted roots of our shared humanity. And that's a fact. Okay. Let me get to these videos. Oh, damn, where is it at? Here go Trump, my man.
They know that this is God chosen people, and this is their land, and 144,000 has already been awakened, regaining the memories, and soon to have their powers. When this solar flash hit the cabal, won't know what to do with them. These are the first fruits. The 144,000 is sealed and awake. I don't think the cabal understand what this means. The chosen ones are already awoke and gaining all of their memories. This means bad business. They know what's coming. Just.
And I said I would keep that.
What made you decide to change your nationality?
The same reason you should do it for your kids. Because I know police, when they get to educate, they not all the way educated. They only know how to train and protect the assets. You get the American Jurisprudence book. Oh, here it is. This with an education. I know y'all don't like niggas to read. I'm now the holder in due course of the birth certificate on a state and federal level. I got the full faith and credit. This is my private affidavit of the certificate of live birth. Now, you stated that you never heard of the Moroccan Empire, but here it is right here. That's the same emblem on the back of the dollar bill. Why do you got your emergency lights on? What's the emergency? The emergency is your vehicle doesn't have a valid registration. Yeah, that's private property. Registered to the trust, not the QSV trust. Go get your white shirt. Call your sheriff. I need somebody in honor. You have a license? Nope. Right to travel, passport. You in trouble. Are you going to identify yourself? I'm a Moor. All right, do you have your license? I'm a national. Okay. Go ahead and step back there. Let me get my paperwork. We are not in a democracy. This is a republic.
I'm gonna be honest. I really have no idea what you're talking about. So if you explain it, dumb it down.
Okay, so the republic, there's two governments on the back of a dollar bill. Moroccan government, that's called Illuminati, which is the pyramid, the all-seeing eye. And then there's the United States Corporation that's on the right side of the back of the dollar bill, which is the Q.V.'s trust of Queen Elizabeth, who you took an oath to protect the assets of their trust.
I'm keeping that because he broke that all the way down. And this is my girl, Janet.
We need to stop believing the myth. In this country, what we call education is actually indoctrination.
Facts.
And it takes us from the ages of 5 to the age of 18 to thoroughly indoctrinate people so that they will believe in the myth of white superiority. And it is a myth. Right. Now, you can't do that while you're teaching that Columbus discovered America. Right. There were black people on this continent 4,000 years before Columbus was born. Right. We teach black history in the schools as if it started with slavery. We all came from the same black women 300,000 to 500,000 years ago. The human race began with black women.
Facts.
My cousins, and you are all my cousins. Make no mistake about this. We are all 30th to 50th cousins because we all have the same black great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother back there 300,000 to 500,000 years ago. We need to stop believing the myth.
Facts. That's Janet Ellen. Damn, I like this one too.
Black people, they don't want you to believe that. They don't want you to know who you are because you're Indian.
Facts.
Not those type of Indians. The ones in America. Not in the 7-Elevens. In the reservations. You were indigenous to this land.
Facts.
And you own this promised land. But they don't want you to know that. Black people.
Facts.
They don't want you to...
Ray J has just been transferred.
If you're black, they don't want you to know what we are going to say now. But let's be clear. You were never meant to hear it. Not here. Not now. Not in the way it's about to be laid bare. The system thrives on your distraction, on your scrolling, your exhaustion, your endless cycle of stress and entertainment. Because the moment you stop, the moment you pause long enough to ask the right questions, the truth comes rushing back like a flood. They don't need whips anymore. They have Wi-Fi.
Facts.
They don't need overseers. They have algorithms. And those algorithms are working overtime, not just to keep you entertained, but to keep you docile, divided, and asleep. This is not a conspiracy. It's psychological warfare.
Facts.
It's cultural colonization in digital disguise.
This is
While
Black
you are busy
Africa
laughing
Diary.
at memes or arguing about celebrities, your history is erased, your future is redirected, and your mind, the most powerful force on this planet, is being chained in silence.
Facts.
The question is, what really happened? How did black people go from kings, queens, warriors, and inventors to a people constantly told their worth begins with slavery and ends in survival? And more importantly, how do they break free now? In this video, let's find out. If you think slavery for black people has ended, you don't know about the digital plantation that exists secretly. Yes, the plantation never vanished. It merely rebranded. Where once whips cracked in the fields, now glowing screens hum in bedrooms, classrooms, and pockets. Where iron shackles bound wrists, algorithms bind attention spans. Where overseers once watched from horseback, corporations now monitor every click, swipe, and pause in the scroll. This is the digital plantation, and its power is both invisible and relentless. Black teens spend 7 to 10 hours every day consuming media, more than any other demographic. But what exactly are they consuming? Not empowerment, not liberation.
Wow.
Instead, the feed drips a steady stream of violence. At grade level. None of this is accidental. Entertainment replaces education by design. Distraction replaces discipline. Ignorance becomes engineered. And because every like, every tap, every pause is data, this data is recycled back into the system to tighten the chains. What once was physical enslavement is now psychological capture. The plantation has evolved, but the purpose remains the same: to control Black potential before it becomes power. But there's an even deeper strategy. Chains alone don't guarantee control. To truly enslave a people, you must erase their memory of greatness.
Facts. Facts.
From the earliest classroom lessons, Black children are told that their story begins in chains.
Facts.
That Africa was darkness before Europe brought light. That their ancestors were savages without civilization. But history tells another truth. Long before Europe had castles, Africa had empires that made the world tremble.
Facts.
The Mali Empire under Mansa Musa produced the wealthiest man in recorded history. His influence stretching
Till
across
this
continents.
day. The richest
In
man
Kush and
till
Nubia,
this day.
Black royalty built pyramids, studied the stars, and developed advanced systems of governance. Timbuktu housed libraries overflowing with manuscripts on medicine, mathematics, law, and philosophy, while Europe was still burning women as witches. But this legacy was systematically buried. Images of kings and queens were replaced by caricatures of slaves. Even so, resistance never ceased. Denmark Vesey plotted a rebellion in Charleston. Nat Turner led an uprising that terrified slave owners.
Facts.
Queen Nzinga fought Portuguese invaders for decades, refusing to bow to colonizers. Their names are rarely spoken in classrooms because empowered ancestors create empowered descendants. And that empowerment threatens the system. The erasure didn't stop with history. It continued into the modern era. Even after freedom was proclaimed, suppression took new forms. Black inventors and thinkers transformed the world. The traffic light, the gas mask, the elevator
Facts.
system, the home security alarm, the blood transfusion methods, and thousands of others were all birthed by Black hands and minds.
Facts.
Yet how many of these names are celebrated in mainstream education? Few, if any. George Washington Carver created hundreds of agricultural innovations that reshaped farming across the globe. Benjamin Banneker, a self-taught mathematician and astronomer.
And George Carver was adopted by a Black family, and they had a white daughter. And they were so afraid that he might have sex with this white daughter. He was castrated. They actually castrated George Carver as a young man. Think of that shit.
Helped map Washington, D.C. Dr. Patricia Bath revolutionized ophthalmology with groundbreaking surgical technology. These were not isolated geniuses. They were part of a continuum of Black brilliance. And yet, their recognition is fleeting, their stories hidden. Even in culture, theft is routine. The Dogon people mapped star systems centuries before telescopes existed.
Facts.
African drumming rhythms birthed jazz.
And the Dogon tribe history in Africa, they tell you that they come from the Sirius star. And the Sirius star is still there. And that's their history.
Blues, rock, hip-hop, and much of global popular music. Yet the source of these contributions is stripped, rebranded, and resold. The genius remains, but the credit does not. This deliberate erasure fuels a dangerous myth that Black excellence is rare instead of ever present. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black Africa. Let's continue now. What's more, the strategy of suppression wasn't just silence, it was violence. Whenever Black communities began to prosper, flames followed.
Facts.
Tulsa's Greenwood district, known as the Black Wall Street, was a thriving hub of doctors, lawyers, and entrepreneurs. In 1921, it was burned to the ground, with over 300 murdered and thousands displaced. Survivors never saw justice. The Colfax Massacre of 1873 saw more than 100 Black men killed for attempting to exercise the right to vote. In Rosewood, Florida, an entire Black town was destroyed in 1923. In East St. Louis, 1917, White mobs slaughtered hundreds of black workers in a calculated act of racial cleansing. These weren't riots, as history books suggest. They were massacres. They were acts of war against black progress, and they were deliberately erased from the public consciousness.
Facts.
Because if widely acknowledged, reparations wouldn't just be debated, they would be demanded. Now, when confronted with these realities, many say the system is broken, but a closer look reveals a harsher truth. The system isn't broken. It's operating exactly as intended. Education is designed to fail black children.
Facts.
Schools in black communities are chronically underfunded,
Facts.
staffed with more police officers than counselors, and stocked with outdated textbooks. Suspensions and expulsions target black students disproportionately, funneling them from classrooms into the prison system.
Facts.
This isn't neglect, it's the school-to-prison pipeline. Policing, too, is rooted in control. From slave patrols of the 18th century to modern police departments, the badge has always served to instill fear in black communities. The continuity is undeniable. Even in the digital age, control adapts. Facial recognition software.
And this is the first time black people can actually rest because they ain't looking for us. They looking for the illegals. So we have a chance to breathe now. Like, share, subscribe, hit that like button.
Where misidentifies black faces up to 100 times more often than white ones. Predictive policing algorithms disproportionately target black neighborhoods regardless of actual crime rates. The FBI's COINTELPRO, once tasked with dismantling black liberation movements, has evolved into algorithmic surveillance, monitoring activists, suppressing hashtags, and burying posts. The plantation modernized, but the master's hand remains. However, when brute force is not enough, division completes the work. Colorism, classism, tribalism. These poisons were deliberately seeded within the black community. On plantations, lighter skin was given preference over darker skin. That hierarchy survives today, in music, movies, and even hiring decisions. In wealthier black communities, class barriers separate the successful from the struggling, as if individual escape erases collective struggle. Across continents, African, Caribbean, and African American identities are pitted against each other, mocking accents, belittling traditions, debating who has it worse. Meanwhile, the real enemy smiles, because a divided community cannot unite against systemic control.
Facts.
Media amplifies these fractures. Violence, greed, and hypersexuality trend, while messages of knowledge, unity, and liberation are buried. Artists who glorify destruction are celebrated. Those who preach empowerment are silenced. A distracted and divided people are manageable, but a united, conscious people are unstoppable. And this is the moment of fear for the system, when black people remember who they truly are. Not slaves, but survivors. Not victims, but visionaries. Not powerless, but divine. Melanin is not just a pigment. It is memory. It carries the echoes of empires, the legacy of resistance, the brilliance of survival. To awaken is to realize that the chains are not permanent, and that the plantation thrives only on ignorance. The most dangerous black person is not the wealthiest or the strongest, but the one who is fully awake. Because when the black mind is conscious, it shakes empires. When black people unite across divisions, no system can contain their power. That is why suppression is constant. That is why distraction is endless. Because an awakened people cannot be controlled.
Facts.
But awakening is not enough. Awareness without action is paralysis. Knowledge must lead to building. Therefore, black people should reclaim knowledge. They should read the books buried from curricula. The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson.
Great book.
Europe, Underdeveloped Africa.
Great book.
By Walter Rodney.
Great
The
book.
Autobiography of Malcolm X. And Destruction of Black Civilization
Great
by
books.
Chancellor Williams. Knowledge is not optional. It is weaponry. Secondly, black people should reclaim economics, circulating the black dollar within the community. Buy land, build credit, Invest in education and business. Every dollar spent is a vote for liberation or for oppression. Then, culture should be reclaimed. You should reject the divisions of shade, class, and nationality. Celebrate every accent, every tradition, every shade of melanin. Restore language, music, art, and family structures that were fractured by colonial design. That's how Black people will be able to reclaim the future. Youth should be mentored and taught about technology. Black people should prepare the next generation not just to participate in the future, but to own it. AI, coding, and new industries cannot be left as tools of exploitation. They must be claimed as instruments of liberation. After knowing all this, know that you were not meant to know about this. You were not meant to awaken. The system.
Man, that's a great video.
Okay, this video is specifically for people that come from what you call black, colored, all these other terms that they've came up with, right? Why haven't you gone to the BLM? And no, I don't mean Black Lives Matter. That was the look left so that you only find that when you search for it. BLM is the Bureau of Land Management. Almost every single last one of you that are born in this nation have property that you don't even know about. It's hidden in the Bureau of Land Management. You see, what happened is when they were taking everybody out of their estates and out of their trusts and forcing everybody to move along the land, what they were actually doing was having people abandon their properties. Now, the thing about this is that if you go to the Bureau of Land Management, what you're going to find in the name of your great-great-grandfather, your great-great-grandmother, is property that you have yet to claim. So what you need to do is figure out what it is of the name of the state that they were living in when they passed, and go and search for the properties that are held, there's territories for every single last one of your families. Not a single last one of you has to be homeless. Not a single last one of you has to struggle for bills, because I guarantee you 100% that there is an estate sitting there waiting to be claimed by a member of the family. And if no other members of your family have claimed this yet, that is yours to do so. Bonus, on top of that, any business that is operating on your estate is now something that is going to be funneling your life, fueling your pockets, and getting you the type of ownership that you're supposed to have. Let's get it together. Okay, this video is specifically...
And all of them had land. I'm going back to get my people land when I retire.
They know that this is God, chosen people, and this is their land. And 144,000 has already been awakened, regaining the memories, and soon to have their powers. When this solar flash hit the cabal, won't know what to do with them. These are the first fruit. The 144,000 is sealed and awake. I don't think the cabal understand what this means. The chosen ones are already awoke and gaining all of their memories. This mean bad business for them. They know what's coming. Just picture this.
Facts.
140.
There is one reason that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off.
Not dark, black.
Black skin.
Really black. Yeah.
Were they tall?
Yes.
Very tall?
Yeah.
How tall? Do you know?
Well, they got out the doorway. I don't know how high that is, but
Well, what?
they say 7 feet would be probably a conservative estimate.
Huge cigar-shaped ship appeared over the Air Force Base. These cigar-shaped ships were over a mile in length. One of them landed on the airport landing strip area. The back of this craft opened up, and several hundred young men with huge heavy weapons came out of two sides of the ship and formed a protection line around the ship. And the people at that Air Force base, the commander, had a meeting with the individuals that were aboard this ship. And this particular race that landed those ships and that are seen in these huge cigar-shaped ships, they are a America. They were about 6'4", 6'5".
Dang, they were black.
And if you've ever seen a race of people that were conquerors, that had never been conquered, they've got this look about them of arrogance. That's exactly what these extraterrestrials had, and they informed these people at this American Air Force base that not only were they from a militaristic society, but they had controlled a large portion of the galaxy that we live in.
And these were black people that were getting off of this ship. They said they looked like African Americans. Oh, now this don't want to play. Okay, let me...
To the hospital after his health suddenly worsened, and he is reportedly...
Hold on, let me do it like this. All right. All right, let me get back. All right, let me close that. Damn, I hit the wrong button. Fuck. Because I got to go get to this funeral. Dang, this ain't playing.
The director of the FBI himself, J. Edgar Hoover, once said, the biggest threat to America is Negro unity. So let that sink in. The world's biggest fear is not World War III. It's not politics. Their worst nightmare is for the black men to rise up.
Facts.
Their worst nightmare is for the black man to put down the drugs, to let go of the self-hatred, and to unite. Because once they wake up, it's over. Just think about it. Every system that's in place right now profits off the destruction of the black man. Prisons,
Facts.
the streets, the music they push, the poisons they put out in our communities. It's all meant to distract and divide. Because if the black man ever really knew his true powers, they would never be able to control him. They feed you drugs to numb you.
Facts.
They tell you lies so you hate yourself.
Facts.
They pit you against each other so you never see who the real enemy is.
Facts.
And the sad part about it, most of us are playing right into their hands. Can you imagine a generation of black men who choose discipline over destruction,
Facts.
unity over ego, purpose over pain? That scares them, because once we put that energy together, we don't just change our lives, we change the whole world.
Facts.
So you got to ask yourself, are you going to keep feeding into their plan, or are you going to wake up and become the worst nightmare that they prayed would never come true? The director.
Boom. That was some good shit right there. Boom. Let me see if I can get this video to play now. Damn, why won't you play? Damn.
Is it true that white people need us to survive?
Hell yeah, without melanin, they can't survive. Matter of fact, if you look at the statistics, white people are dying right now. They are dying more than they're repopulating. And that's why so many black people are coming up missing. Notice they're getting all of these different type of melanin shots inside of them. They're trying to deal with the sun more. Right now, with all of these heat rays and how the sun is heating up and all of the ultraviolet infrared rays is coming from the sun, man, white people are dying globally from skin cancer. The sun is beating they ass.
Surely is.
Especially in Israel. Look up the sun cancer epidemic in Israel. Man, the sun is whooping they ass.
They know that.
But they need melanin. for the sun can charge them and make them supernatural like it does us. We are supernatural people. We are an eternal people. We really is. We are a reflection of God itself, and we can prove this through biology.
Is it true that white people need us to survive?
Hell yeah.
And they can't.
Oh shit. Damn, I would need this to play. Damn, and it's not playing.
Good. They shouldn't be on it. As someone who, like I said, worked for Head Start, a lot of these families have been on Section 8 for generations, okay? It's all they know, and it's what they want. They don't want their own home. They don't want to have their own apartment. They want the $200, $300 rent they pay for their 2 to 3 bedroom apartment, so they continually have kids that they know they can't provide for, but can somewhat...
Foremost, it's blasphemy against the true original beings of this land. For them, not only did they steal our land, they didn't give us our 40 acres and a mule, right? And then people who did own this land, speaking from my ancestors who are Choctaw, Mississippi Indians, they told them that if we catch you gardening on your land, we're going to find you and take you to jail. You must go to work and buy food for the supermarkets. So it was a whole organized plan, basically to take our land from us, stop us from gardening, and have to depend on these supermarkets. Then they say you have to go to work and pay for the food at the supermarket. The food at the supermarket is not real food, it's friendly food. They give you fruits and vegetables that don't have seeds. When originally here in America, it was beautiful. Our grass, we didn't have grass is artificial. We had herbs growing from the ground like sage, kale, candling flower, different things like that. And there's still candling flowers and things that pop through and people spray it and say, oh my goodness, it's a weed, but it's really an herb that can heal you, right? So as human beings, we're supposed to be the most elite people, right? We're supposed to be the most intelligent people, but yet we're the only species that pays to live, right? Spiritual laws state that if anyone isn't living in a specific home, that you should go there and live. This is how we live. This money system is false, and it was not created for the black man and the black woman, the true indigenous woman and man of the omniverse, right, of the earth, to rise. Right? It's not. And I know this because I remember I was working at a job. I was making $13 an hour. I don't think I was 18, 19. I was making $13 an hour. The Caucasian man asked me, I said, so how much you make? He said 15. I said, do you have any previous experience with this work? He said, no, but I did. But yet they still paid him more because white privilege does exist within this false money system. It wasn't created for the black man and woman to thrive. That's why a black man cannot make enough money for his wife to be at home and sit at home and take care of the children. Right. So all these false systems, all these false.
I love her. Damn, I can't play that. I'm gonna end with this one because I gotta go.
Family, I've come across video.
Let me get to the video.
And specifically the people who have been sent all over the earth on slave ships, those people are superior, even in the Most High's eyes himself, because those people are the Israelites. And there's a scripture that says, not only it says if you bless them, you'll be blessed, there's also one that says you have to cling to them or you can't even be saved. So for one, that means acknowledging who they are, obviously. And for two, it means reading even their own scriptures, because these scriptures are not for everyone. They're for them, and if you want to follow after their God, he's not all people are his people. You see how that works? So if you want to even be saved, you need to get in line, and you need to step behind his chosen people. Okay? And the reason that this earth is gone behind racism, is because we live in a satanic world, and Satan exclusively hates these chosen Israelite black people more than anyone else, and he hates them and he wants to bury them. Because not only he hates them because they're chosen, but he hates them because literally, like I just explained, they're your and my hope to be saved. In other words, they're first, you're second. This is explained not only in the Bible, but also all of the books that should be in your so-called Bible, but were not allowed in by the Freemasonic organizations that rule and control the earth, because they don't want you to know all that truth. But it is out there. I know it's in Baruch. I know it's in Esdras. It's the message for this video. And again, say it again, black people, especially the Hebrew Israelites, the actual chosen people of the Most High, who was sent on slave ships, not for the sake of all,
Come on.
but for the sake of the many.
And they know who we are.
He's also he acknowledges their only hope literally is to cleave to the children of Israel, as it was prophesied that they would do. He also acknowledges that, the Israelites are superior. Not only are we superior to them, but every other nation upon this earth, which is in Deuteronomy 7:6, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. He's acknowledging this. He understands this. So he's another Gentile blowing the trumpet and speaking truth about who the true Israelites are. So they have to cleave unto us. There's no other way. The same way we built their land up, they're gonna have to come and build ours up.
Come on.
The same way we serve them, they're gonna have to come and serve us.
Come on.
Double. That's been prophesied. So that's justice.
Double.
Unto us as bound man and bound woman, you will be destroyed right along with your enemies. Shalom.
My guy. You are most definitely wrong, because if it didn't matter, it wouldn't have been written. So a lot of people would like to know, what color is Jesus? What color is God's Spirit? So let's talk about it. And before I get started, please understand that this is not about the color, but it's about the truth. Yes, the Messiah was a black man, and God made his son in his image. God says in the Bible that his spirit is the color of jasper, sardine stone. In Revelation, it says his head and his hairs were white like wool.
Facts.
This is the color of white woolly hair. Who the only ones with woolly hair that stand out from the rest of the people? Black people. It said his feet was unto the color of fine brass, burnt in a furnace. Now this picture is the color of fine brass burnt in a furnace. Extremely black. The Messiah was a very, very dark man. And I know a lot of y'all like to say, no, he's Middle Eastern. So if y'all believe that he's Middle Eastern, then y'all should know that the Middle East was a part of Africa.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
Full of black people.
Facts.
Dark black people.
Facts.
Wait, but y'all love to say, no, he's an olive skin color. Well, let me tell you something. I only know 2 different color olives. The green olive and the dark black olive. So tell me which one it is. There's pictures from the 13th century of a black Messiah and black saints. To be honest, almost everybody in the Bible was black.
Facts.
And a lot of them had locks.
Facts.
That's why I'm kind of glad that a lot of us are coming back to our roots. A lot of us are starting to get locks, because it's really a part of who we are. So the Messiah had hair like wool that was as white as snow. He was the color of fine brass burnt in a furnace.
Facts.
He was from the...
In a Christian, worst crime, stole country.
Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Love y'all.